I have hosted multiple events over the last year, including New Year's Eve parties, Pampered Chef parties, piano performance parties where my husband played piano for our friends and family and I made all the food for our guests. We've also had over our soup group and I've done the hosting a few times this year as well. And in this video, I want to share some of the tips and tricks I've learned along the way as I've had each party getting better and better, trying to be more efficient and doing more things ahead. So let me share those now. Let me tell you what I've got that can help hopefully save you some stress during your next event. All right, let's get started. My first tip is something I do every time, especially the day of. I do this all the time, all day long. I put on shoes, specifically my sneakers that I just slip on. I know when I'm cooking and chopping and all the prep it takes, I'm on my feet for a good long amount of time at one stretch. Shoes helps. Also, I have slip-on shoes, so if I need to slip them off real quick to go to a part of the house that has carpet, I can do so. But I'm telling you, wearing shoes is like putting on a cape. It gives you this extra superhero energy and you can just go longer and longer. And that's what you need when you're prepping for a party. So that's tip number one, put those shoes on. Tip number two, label everything. I mean almost everything. You should see my part two of this tip and you'll see what I mean by everything. But to start with, I label all the dishes with sticky notes. So what I do first is I list all the recipes I'm gonna make for that event. I think of the appetizers, even the drinks I'm gonna make. I put them all on Post-it notes and then I put that out and then assign each of those sticky notes to a specific serving tray. This helps me make sure I have exactly what I need. I particularly love the sticky notes made by Laurel Denise. I'm a huge fan of all her products and the sticky notes are so fabulous because they come in their own pad, their own set, and everything is together. And I have multiple sizes, multiple options, multiple colors, and they stay with me throughout everything I do. I then take my sticky notes to the next level. This is the part two. Your family still has to eat while you're entertaining for guests that are coming. So I always label in the fridge, and I actually label not so much what they can eat, but what they can eat. And I just put the word eat, 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 and they know exactly what they can grab and take and eat. That has been so helpful. None of this, oh my goodness, you've eaten what I didn't want you to eat. Now it's very clear. Sticky notes to the rescue. In addition to organizing and preparing your platters and knowing what you are going to serve everything in, you also need to know what you're going to serve with. These are my favorite little tongs. I got these from Amazon. They're so classy. They're the perfect size. They're nice and small and petite, so they don't take up the whole tray. They're just what they need to be, which is a little grabber for that little finger food, that little hors d'oeuvre they can just pick up easily. In addition to these serving tongs, I also love fancy toothpicks. I love the added feature of different things like a tied knot, a little gold ball on the top, something that just makes it a little more fancy. The ones I have found, I'll leave a link to those specifically that I found on Amazon, as well as those serving tongs. Another tip when what to serve in, what to serve with, is also how to present everything. I know that the last few parties I've done, I have really stepped it up when it came to elevating the dishes. Not so much of the quality of the dishes, but also the height. Having different height variations just brings more interest to all of the display and the presentation. And going back to labeling everything, I have these little chalkboard signs that I use to share the product I'm demoing at my Pampered Chef parties or what we're eating and drinking, including this sign I made for my glass dispenser, and I just glued a piece of twine on the back so it can hang around the neck of this dispenser. It turned out perfect. I try to do this way ahead of advance as soon as I know my menu so I don't run short on time and do this last minute. Now let's get into my third tip, which is a bunch of mini tips because it has to do with cleaning. Now, of course, you're going to clean your home and you're going to do all that you need to do knowing guests are going to arrive. And sometimes I have to say, having people over is like the best way to get your house clean because you all of a sudden see your home with different eyes, don't you? You kind of go, ooh, I didn't see that before. So it's almost really nice to have people over because then you're going to give that home a deep cleaning like you want to. First of all, I always do the dishes the day I'm going to cook. So I do the whole bit. I do the whole dishes, everything in the sink, empty the dishwasher, and start a new load right away. If I just go ahead and start with that step, I don't have to worry about not being able to find things, which can take more time than you think, hunting down that one specific thing you need, because you'll do that again and again. And I guarantee you most of it's in the dishwasher. So I always go through the whole dishwashing cycle before I start cooking. The other thing that works really well for me is a checklist. I love lists. You can see that in my videos. You know I'm a list lover. And one of the things I have though, when we're entertaining and you're doing it multiple times, or you could use this as just a cleaning checklist just in general, but there are specific things that are usually gonna happen each time for a party. And I've created one master list. Then I have a column for each of the parties and I just go through and check everything off as I'm going through the days ahead before the party. There's some additional things beyond cleaning that I put on this list that are specific to having a party. So I love my list. I have it with me every event. I recommend, if you need a checklist, once again, Laurel Denise has these as well, but you can just write it on any old tablet piece of paper and just have it in front of you. But I do like the ones where you make a master checklist and just work through it event at a time. Another tip I have with cleaning that seems kind of strange, but it has worked the last 2 parties I've had, and that is only cleaning half of something because you know you're still gonna use it, particularly the stove. We have this 5-burner stove and we have it where you have 3 grates. What I do is I clean 1/2 of the stove, take off the grates, and leave only one section left of the stove that people can use. This way I have less to clean. I'm not gonna get upset when I just cleaned it and then it becomes a mess. I do not care. Make a mess on that last third of the stove, use it, and then right before I'm about to make all the food, I clean that one area. That has really helped. It just helps with my sanity. Try it, see if it works for you. Once again, a no use zone and a use zone right before the party, because your family still wants to eat. And if they're old enough to cook their own meals, they're going to be cooking the day you are prepping. Trust me. Speaking of eating, let's get into what has been super helpful when the family needs to eat and you're prepping a gazillion bits of food and they are chomping, wanting some of it, and you have to keep telling them to wait. What you got to do is feed them something. I have found 2 of my favorite things to make, and I'll leave the recipes in the description box for you, is my ultimate favorite quiche. I make this quiche all the time. It is something that is a hit, low carb, perfect for everyone in the family. They always love it. It also uses up any cheese I have left over. It also uses up any eggs and any heavy whipping cream that I have left to use. So this recipe is perfect. Once again, you can see it. I'll leave a link even to the video where I've showed it before multiple times. The other thing I make is something that's in a quick bag dump and go. I just need it to be made in less than 15 minutes. This one meal dump and go was so fabulous. I got it from Aldi. It has corn and sausage and potatoes and the whole bit. It was filling. It's not specifically this meal to get. It's just a simple dump in a bag meal that you could throw in a pan, throw in a pot, and have it on that one side of the burner that's available and cook that up for the family. Or make something the evening before that you could easily heat up. That's where my quiche is outstanding. Something you want to put in the freezer. Just think ahead so that they can eat. I know you could kick them out of the house and tell them to go get fast food or whatever, but once again, my family is usually hands on deck, and so it's not likely they're gonna go out to eat. They're gonna stick around and I'm gonna feed them.
My last tips are on reducing the number of dishes and some cleanup help. One of the things I do is have a lot of entertaining platters, and this does mean I am cleaning more dishes. But one of the things I've done is to use butcher block paper to cover my island, and then I can put fruits, vegetables, the deli meats, parts of your charcuterie board can go right on that butcher block paper and save you dishes, time, and clean up when you are done with the party. I also like how the paper is a solid color, and that way your eye is drawn to the food and not to the busyness of your island and your granite counters.
My last tip has to do with the end of the party. I've learned this from the Lazy Genius, who says zones. Use zones in your kitchen. And usually you can't start on cleaning up while guests are still there. You can at least start moving things to the zone so they're all in one place when you are done with the party.
In addition to identifying zones in my kitchen,
I'm trying to reduce the amount of dishes that I have to do at the end of an event. Anytime you can use some kind of disposable serving ware, that is helpful. And you know you're using so many reusable things that using just a few that you could dispose of at the end of the party is great. I hope these tips and tricks have helped and you are gonna find a little bit more energy and a little bit less stress next time you host your event.
As always, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If so, give it a like and be sure to subscribe. I'll see you on the next video.